Good day, monkeys. I'm Eddie Braverman, that's minus Mulligan Magoo, and this is episode 37 of Not Safe for Work on WallStreetOasis.com. After the response to the story about the stripper who started a hedge fund and posted returns of 160%, we knew we couldn't leave that one alone, so let's get it on. There's some obvious humor in a stripper moving to the hedge fund industry. Like, I wonder how hard it was for her to go to 2 and 20 after all those years of making 220s for a table dance. But the thing I find most fascinating is the story of people from a non-traditional background making it on the street. I'm so fascinated by it, in fact, that I'm writing a post about what it takes to make it on the street with a non-traditional background. And I hope to have it up this week. If not, it'll be up next week. I've actually known all kinds of people who've enjoyed varying degrees of success on the street who've come from all kinds of weird places. Yes, I've even known a stripper who made good in the business, although she made even more when she walked away and applied the skills that she learned in trading to the escort agency she set up. That's a true story, and she did great. When I first got started, one of the top guys in my office was a 21-year-old kid making a couple $100,000 a year and driving a brand new Corvette. He literally went from bagging groceries in high school to pounding the phones with a Series 7, and today he's a respected money manager. I had a manager who was a former line cook at a TGI Fridays, and he was pulling down $100,000 to $120,000 a month as a VP at age 27. And I myself left home the day after graduating high school at age 17 and joined the Marines. After 5 years of that, I managed to get hired as a stockbroker, and the rest is history. So it's not that hard for me to believe that a chick who used to work the pole now runs a hedge fund. Strippers are some of the best salespeople I've ever known. Lord knows they've talked my buddies into some silly shit over the years. I wish her luck. What do you think, dude?
Well, as I said before, you could end every war and feed the poor if you would just emancipate every whore. You know? Pussy's the world's most valuable commodity, man, and prostitution is indeed our oldest profession. So stripping's just a way around America's puritanical attitude towards sex. And, you know, if a girl can navigate that, hell, shit, male strippers, equal opportunity. Anybody who can navigate around that successfully can have the sort of seed capital that a lot of our viewers are going to slave over for the next 10, 15 years to get in their pockets. That's just the reality of life. I mean, I've met shot girls, actually, at upper echelon clubs who bank 7 figures by the time they get there. What they do to get there, you know, remains unsaid. But, hey.
It's all marketing, baby.
Yeah, man. Market-wise, though, I mean, you know, I talk about a commodity bubble. I mean, when guys are dropping a couple of G's a night to get the same thing out of these girls that I get every time I hop on the train during rush hour, you know something's wrong, man. Now, as far as the girl herself, this goes back to what you were saying about sales marketing. I mean, if you can sell, you're going to make money. It doesn't have to be a lot more complicated than that. No amount of diplomas, no GPAs, no IQs. Nothing really matters. And when you have the product that everybody wants, it makes you that much of a better salesman to start off with. That said, I definitely think girls like this should be burned at the stake, and not for my usual misogyny. Actually, this may be a very unique episode because I'm actually going to stick up for the women of Wall Street for once, because the vast majority of the ladies that we do at work and in financial services, from you know, the back office to the front, really did work hard to get there and really did have to put up with a lot of shit and still do on a daily basis. And, you know, when such a completely clear airhead like this chick comes along and does something like this, I mean, she's setting all the other girls back so much that, you know, honestly, if I was a woman on Wall Street, I'd go find her and pull her hair and slap her around, rip her shirt open,
hit her with a pillow,
you know. Hey, listen, you make more money off of that than you will, you know, working for the next 10 years. So it just goes back to the sales thing.
You know, the ironic thing is, though, you take this girl with her background, and let's say that, you know, just on some off chance, she ends up cracking the code and making some real money and growing this hedge fund to a respectable size. The people at the top of the bulge bracket banks will throw the woman who graduated Princeton and did everything right, they will throw her over in a minute for this chick with no background because she's got the money. And that's part of my post. is that these guys who wouldn't give you the steam off their shit because you don't have, the right pedigree, will be sucking your kneecaps in a few years if you can put the money together. If you can make it rain, it doesn't matter what your lack of pedigree is.
I was just
I've
about
seen
to say,
it 1,000 times on the street.
Yeah.
It's all
Definitely.
about the money, and that's all it's about.
Nah, definitely. It's you just took the words out of my mouth, literally. I mean, if you can Gordon Gecko the game these days and get in there with your own nickel, everybody will be sucking your kneecaps if you have a little bit of alternative skill set. That's the funny thing about the whole story. And one thing I got to disagree with you is this notion of alternative background success on the street. I know that used to be the way of the world. For those of us that are a little younger than you, it's definitely changed a whole lot. I actually spoke to a guy on the site a few months ago, and I may be misquoting, but I'm not too far off. I think this guy had 4 different majors and graduated in 3 years while working full time. I could be off by a few hours or a few majors or a few GPA points, but the point is the kid was really, really smart and impressive. But non-target, Midwest, can't get anybody to pick up the phone for him, talk to the guy for 5 minutes. Obviously bright, obviously would be a huge asset to any bank, any prop shop, any equity research firm, anybody, but guy can't get anybody to talk to. Now, maybe if he had them D's, but...
Nah, you want to know what the problem is? And people are going to hate me for saying this, but he doesn't want it bad enough. And I'm going to explain myself. I'm going to explain myself and show a clear path. And it's a path that very, very many people will not accept, and they will not like it. But it's a clear path that is duplicatable and has worked many, many times in the past. It's just a lot of people think they're too good for it. And it's because they have 4. It's because they have 4 degrees that they managed to wrap up in 3 years from whatever. Again, you bring up Gecko. Give me a kid that's smart and hungry, and I don't give a shit where he comes from. If he's willing to do what it takes, he will make it in the business. But that's all I'm going to say on it.
I won't argue against that. As soon as you start telling people to pound the pavement and make those phone calls, they're going to shit on you anyway, so I'm going to let them do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know what it's all about. It's grunt work. It's horrible, but if you want it, it's there.
A prepaid cell phone.
The difference today, I will grant you this. Back when I got started, an idiot could make it. Honest to God, you could coast by if you were stupid. Today, I don't think that's the case. You don't have to have advanced degrees. You don't have to have a degree, period. But you can't be stupid. You have to have some brains today.
Nah, but it helps to have a player-hater degree, because if you're willing to stab people in the back, that's always a good thing. Yeah, right. And the ability to shake that ass. All
right, well, when you guys see how to go from boiler room to bulge bracket, you can eviscerate me in the comments, but I will show a clear path to those who are interested.
Hey, shit. More power to the ones that listen.
Yep. You got anything else this week?
Nah, man, but, a wise man did bring up something about escort services a couple of minutes ago, and,
Yeah, that's one thing I think a lot of escorts would take issue with, something that you said, comparing strippers to escorts.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because there is a disparity in the level of professionalism.
But
I'm
how
not
do
going to
you
go
think
into
I
great
get my
detail.
discounts from one and the other? You got to play the two against the middle, man. Come on.
Yeah, the difference is you tell a hooker where to be at a certain time, and she's going to be there with bells on and dressed to the nines. You tell a stripper where to be at a certain time, and you're lucky if she's there 3 hours late and not strung out on some, weird drug and everything else. So,
well, this is why incentivization is key, and sometimes the key is not always in a solid form, but we don't want to get into that right now.
Right. All right, well, we ought to wrap this up before we get in any more trouble. One thing I will say on the book front, I went ahead and just started Michael Lewis's new book today. I believe it's called Boomerang, and I'm not far enough into it to really pass judgment, but from what I've read so far, it's so far every bit as good as The Big Short. And also, I passed on some bad dope on the site. It was not Michael Burry, who did the deal with the nickels. It was Bass in Dallas. He was the one that bought $1 million worth of nickels because they're actually worth 6.5 cents each or what have you. So Kyle Bass, not Michael Burry. All right, guys, that's all I got this week. If you happen to stumble upon this and you happen to be a stripper, take heart. It can be done. Plus, you're doing God's work, much more than Lloyd Blankfein ever has. So
next week, you get the top 5 escort services in the. No, sorry. No, never mind.
All right, man. That's all I got. Until next week. Actually, I won't be here next week, so in 2 weeks. But until then, keep your heads low and your powder dry, and we will see you then on Not Safe for Work on WallStreetOasis.com.